Now it's my pleasure to introduce a friend and also the director of the International Fund for Animal Welfare, Mr. Fred O'Regan.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm not going to go over the facts or the devious history of this project because you know it all too well. What I think I might be able to do is bring a bit of an international context to sort of point out to you how important I believe this project is to stop. I have the privilege to run the largest international animal welfare organization in the world. We have 450 staff and work in 40 countries. But my job, frankly, sometimes I feel like the Dutch kid running around the world putting his finger in a dike here and a dike there. And let me give you an example of what I mean about the interrelatedness internationally of these issues. Let's start with our good friends, the gray whales. Just 7 years ago, in fact, Pearson Keeley and ourselves and the National Resources Defense Council launched a massive campaign against the Mitsubishi Corporation, which was the largest company in the world, not just the largest mining company, but the largest corporation in the world. They were about to put the world's largest salt works right next to Laguna San Ignacio, which was a quadruply protected biosphere reserve. We drew the line in the sand and said no. We launched a campaign, and 3 years later, with their help, we won it. And in fact, these things can be won, people. These things can be won. Don't think they can't. Believe me, they can. And in fact, what's good for Pearson Keeley, it's 7 years ago this month, lucky number 7, that President Cedillo shut that project down. Now, so what happens then? The same gray whales end up, the same species in Sakhalin Island, Russia, where Shell and a consortium are putting together a huge natural gas pipeline, which was going to run right through the feeding ground for the Pacific grays in that area. We again put a coalition together, and just 3 months ago, they decided to move the pipeline away from that. But now here we are again, and the same gray whales now, here comes a facility right in their migratory corridor where they go from Baja, where they breed, to the north to it. So that, the finger in the dike thing, this is just one species, the gray whales. And in fact, I've had our scientists look at this and they are convinced that this project is absolutely a threat. Not just because of this, but because of the massive shipping increase that's going to come with these super tankers coming in 3 a week. You're right through the migratory, you're perpendicular coming right through their corridor. So what do we need to do? I think the main thing with this project, frankly, is another aspect of what's going on around the world. In fact, let me just say one thing about global warming. The emissions from this, we've just published 2 papers showing the immediate impact on marine mammals, especially ice-breeding mammals, that global warming is having. Like walruses, seals, polar bears are immediately threatened, and they're already moving populations and depleting. We've also found a study that even in the Southern Ocean sanctuaries, the krill is disappearing in certain, so this is causing a decrease in the supply in some areas, and whales are having to move further distances to find their feeding. So again, it's all interrelated. These issues, you're part of a global network here. Don't feel like you're on your own here. There's a lot going on. And the last thing I'll say is what's important about this is just like the Mitsubishi campaign. Once you get into a pristine area and violate it, the next time is a lot easier. If you don't draw the line the first time, you end up with Las Vegas. I always make the point, Las Vegas started with one environmental impact study, which said if you only do this, this will happen. But then the next one was done based on that, and the next one is done based on that. Then that's the problem we have with global warming. There's no, for example, there's no set practice. There's no conspiracy, so to speak. It's a tyranny of small decisions, one project after another after another. But this is a big project. And the precedent that this would set would be awful. The last thing I'll say is one of the problems we're facing worldwide is the collapse of what's called the precautionary principle. Since the Rio conference on, the principle is if you don't know what the consequences are, if you can't prove what they are, you shouldn't do it until you know. This project has trampled on the precautionary principle. Given the size of this project, its untested technology, and the sensitive area where it is, this project clearly is in violation of that principle. So God bless to all of you, and we're here to help as much as we can. Thank you.
Next, it's my pleasure to introduce the Senior Counsel for the Environmental Defense Center and my friend Linda Kropp.
Thank you. It's great to have such a wonderful turnout. I'm with the Environmental Defense Center, and we are your law firm on this project. We have been hired about 3 years ago by the California Coastal Protection Network and supported by the communities of Malibu and Oxnard and the City Council of Malibu. And what we have done for the last 3 years is launch an investigation into the impacts that this project would have on our coastline, because 3 years ago, the state and federal government relied exclusively on reports from BHP Billiton and concluded that this project would have no impacts to our state, to our ocean, to our communities. So we had to represent the public and go out and hire experts that told us we don't need LNG. We can follow the path that you've heard from our state elected officials, the clean path to our energy future. And this project would have tremendous impacts to our state and our coastline. Well, as of yesterday, we have some new information. This doesn't look like a whole lot. This is 4 phone books full of information that confirms our worst fears, that this project will have tremendous consequences to our environment and our coastline that cannot be avoided by BHP Billiton. This project will impact our air quality, our water quality, our marine mammals that migrate through the area, recreation offshore, noise, views, agriculture, all these impacts that the original documents and the original state and federal agencies said would not occur. So we have made a difference already. Now we need to communicate this information to the decision makers at the state and federal level. We need to let them know that according to this document, this project will generate 200 tons of smog affecting Ventura and LA counties every year, exacerbating the asthma that threatens our communities today. This project violates the Clean Air Act. It violates the Clean Water Act. This project will increase global warming tremendously. LNG is not clean. It's a fossil fuel, and by the time they ship it 10,000 miles overseas, this project alone will generate 25 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions at a time when we have to reduce global warming, not increase it. This project will impact migrating whales. They say blue and humpback whales don't go through this area. How many people here agree with that? We have to protect the whales. We are the people that can do it. We need to go communicate. We don't need this project. We have better alternatives. We don't want all these impacts. April 4th, the Coast Guard will hold a hearing in Oxnard. April 9th, the State Lands Commission will take the first vote. We only need 2 votes, folks. We need Lieutenant Governor Garamendi and State Controller John Chung. Call them. Ask them to please deny this project. That hearing is April 9th in Oxnard. On April 12th, the California Coastal Commission will make a decision on the project in Santa Barbara. We need 6 votes. Call the coastal commissioners. We have a lot to do, but we're making progress, and with your help, we will stop this project. Thank you.
Our last speaker today is our friend and council member, Andy Stern from Malibu. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. I am thrilled to see so many people here today. Never before has Oxnard and Malibu and the other coastal communities joined together on any issue, but we stand firm against this LNG, this experimental LNG terminal off our coast. Never before has one of these been built. I've heard people say, well, it's a Malibu issue, it's an Oxnard issue. Over 15 million visitors come to Malibu's beaches per year. That's 15 million just to Malibu. We have to protect our coast for us, for our visitors, for all of LA County, for the state of California. We need your help. You know, this is great to see everyone here. 2 years ago, no one was talking about this. Today, it's in the LA Times. We're seeing articles on this terminal throughout the world. Join us. We keep on saying the same date. I'm going to say it again. Monday, April 9th, California State Lands Commission, Oxnard Performing Arts Center. If you don't participate, don't complain. We can make a difference. Show up. Let's all get together and stop this terminal on that date. Thanks for coming.
I think the message here is that collectively we are stronger, our voices are louder, and the synergy of our actions is more powerful. Please don't leave today without taking one of these cards with the important dates and important phone numbers on it. It lets you know when the meetings are, who to call, and how to get involved. It's easy to make your voice heard, and we thank you today for showing up. There are a lot of people who say they're going to do something and they don't, and all of you did. So warm round to all of you for your participation today. Thank you. And a very special thank you to my husband, Pierce, for always standing behind me through all of these events. Thank you, honey.